Yeah, we are live. Hello, warm greetings, everyone. Welcome to Purpose, Profit, and Power Leadership webinar. Today, we have a very special guest in our midst, phenomenal Nimi Adetiron. She's a trauma coach. So, I'm going to do a brief introduction about Coach Nimi. Then she's going to take us a session on the crisis-driven leadership, on how to turn emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation. Well, who is Coach Nimi? Coach Nimi Adetiran is a highly sought after family life therapist. She's a mental health advocate and a keynote speaker who transforms emotional crisis into opportunities for breakthrough and growth. With over a decade of experience in leadership development, trauma recovery, and emotional intelligence, Coach Nimi brings both expertise and empathy to every stage she steps on. She is the CEO of Fabric Crafts, a fashion and branding firm, using creativity as a channel for hope and identity. And she is also the founder of Purpose in Tech, where she leverages technology to empower purpose-driven living. Coach Nimi is also a certified trainer. She is a consultant for Google's Android OS in Ibadan, where she helps Google Android sales ambassador optimize sales through training and workshops. Her blueprints-based interventions has helped thousands break free from trauma-induced limitations, and her work has been recognized globally. She has been recognized by several international organizations, including Shine Ambassador Award in for exemplary contributions to women's and youth empowerment. Whether she's addressing corporate teams, youth groups, or global summits, Coach Nimi speaks from a place of authenticity, resilience, and conviction. She encourages our audience to rise above their pasts, to lead a life with emotional intelligence, and dare to believe in their potential. She is available for speaking engagement and training in workshops, and her blueprint messages are signature messages are turning crisis into catalysts of growth, healing from trauma, purposeful branding. This spans from fashion to tech to identity, profiting from your pain. That is how to leverage emotional pain for wealth creation. And she also specializes on team building, team spirit, and she trains in corporate organization. Today we have this amazing and phenomenal woman in our midst. It's really a privilege to have her in our midst, especially the fact that she'll be taking us on a topic which is dear to everyone, every mental health advocate, how to turn our emotional trauma, how to turn our emotional crisis into things that will help us to grow and thrive in life. Thank you so much, Coach Nemi, for accepting to be on today's session. Personally, I don't take it for granted, and we at Steve Prime, we do not take it for granted. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much, Esther. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah.
delighted to be here as well. Thank you, everyone. And I want to say a very warm welcome to everyone, every participant in this leadership webinar. I mean, it's a very timely topic. It's a very timely topic because everybody goes through crisis. Everybody and leaders are experiencing crisis every now and then, especially in this day and time. So thank you so much for having me, and I welcome you all to this webinar. Yeah, so like Esther already introduced me, my name is Nimia Datiro. I'm a mental health advocate, a trauma healing coach, and emotional crisis or navigating emotional crisis, leveraging emotional crisis, to advance your life, whether as an individual or a corporate organization, is something that I'm really passionate about and I always talk about, because I can understand the impact of emotional crisis on your well-being, on your overall well-being, and of course your organization as well, right? So, before we dive into it, I'll just like us to maybe just take this icebreaker. If you're joining now, or maybe you're joining, you catch up on the replay, you can just just have fun, with this icebreaker. Whenever you hear the word crisis, what is that one word that comes to your mind? So you can leave it in the chat. You can type that in the chat. Esther, please, I'll need your help, just in case people are responding, so that I can also flow with the audience as well. But whenever you hear the word crisis, what is that one word that comes to your mind? Okay. And along the line, I'm also going to be sharing a personal story as well as the experiences of maybe two companies or two individuals that you can resonate with. All right. So by the end of this webinar, you will be equipped with practical strategies to navigate emotional crisis effectively. Okay, by understanding and leveraging the emotional landscape for growth and innovation. So you're going to be equipped with practical strategies to navigate crisis, emotional crisis, whether as for self leadership or leading a team. All right. Okay, so do we have comments in the chat? Do we have people commenting? What's the one word that comes to your mind whenever you hear the word crisis? Okay. Some people say it's pain. Some people call it discomfort. Some people call it frustration. Sometimes it's confusion, as it were. All right, so this is crisis driven leadership, and we're talking about how to turn emotional crisis, emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation. All right, I'm going to begin with sharing some common emotional responses, responses you are familiar with, okay? So that when I give examples along the line, you can relate, you can identify an emotional response. I'll just give you emotional responses that we call emotional challenges, okay? Number one is fear and anxiety, okay? And fear and anxiety is a natural human response, okay, to an unknown situation or a potential threat. So if you've heard the word fear of the unknown, right, it's a natural human response. So fear is natural, okay, anxiety is natural. All right, they are called emotional responses. They are your emotions, and they are natural because you were created as an emotional being. Okay, so I'm a Christian, and we believe that man is a tripartite spirit. So man is a tripartite being. That means that man has a spirit, he has a soul, and lives in a body. Okay, so your soul realm, you have your emotions, you have your mind, you have your will, you have your intellect in your soul realm. All right, so you have your emotions in your soul realm, and your soul realm is actually what you use to interact with the earthly realm, with the physical realm. Everything you do here on earth actually transits between your soul. So your soul navigates between your spirit and your body. Okay, so it's the seat of your emotions and all of that. Okay, so it's important that you understand that your emotions are natural. It's normal for you to feel fear, it's normal for you to feel anxiety, it's normal for you to feel grief, it's normal for you to feel confused, it's normal for you to feel angry, it's normal for you to feel sad, right? It's normal for you to feel frustrated. Just like it's normal for you to feel excited, feel happy, feel joyful, it's normal for you to feel peace, right? They are called emotions, they are natural. You were created with those emotions, okay? The emotions are not the problem. What we do with the emotions determines the outcome of our lives. All right. So number one is fear and anxiety. And I've said that fear is a natural response, a human response to an unknown situation or a potential threat. So let me give an example. You're working in an organization and then there's news that there's an economic downturn, or the organization is facing financial challenges. So the first thing that comes to your mind is fear. The fear of job security. What's going to happen to my job? Okay. Or another common experience is AI. The invention of AI everywhere, AI this, AI that, and you could just feel fear or anxiety. You could feel that panic to say, oh, what's going to happen to my skills and all of that. Okay. The second emotional response is uncertainty and confusion. All right, lack of clarity about the future, about what to do concerning a situation is an emotional response. So confusion is an emotional response. It's natural. Okay. So I want you to type in the comments, in the chat, just say my emotions are valid. All right. Feeling the way you feel does not make you a bad person. All right. So just own your emotions and say my emotions are valid. That you feel fear or you feel confused is natural. All right. So number two is uncertainty and confusion. All right. And I've given an example of AI, and the fear of job security, the fear of still being relevant in your workplace, if your skills are still relevant, if your finances are still going to be, the inflow of your cash and all of that, so you could feel confused, you could feel uncertain about the future. All right. Another emotional response is grief. And especially in this digital world where there are lots of news about the demise of something, the loss of something, the loss of a job, the end of a marriage, the end of a relationship on social media. Almost everybody, if not everybody, experiences grief, because there's something called direct pain and indirect pain. So direct trauma is actually something you experience personally, okay? More like you experience a heartbreak. It's personal. Indirect trauma is someone else's trauma, right? It's called borrowed trauma. Okay, someone else experienced a heartbreak and they shared that experience on Facebook, on YouTube. You stumbled on a podcast or a media outlet, a media platform shares a story, a horrible story, and you feel sad for that person, you feel sad for that situation, up to the point of feeling angry. You feel grief. Sometimes you could feel pain. It's a natural emotional response. So grief and loss are emotional responses. Okay. I'm going to be paying attention to my time as well so that I keep to time. All right. Now, it's important to identify your emotions. It's important to identify your emotions. If you're going to be able to turn your emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation, you need to be able to identify your emotions, identify your triggers. All right. Validate and acknowledge your emotions. It's important. It's okay to say, I feel sad. It's okay to say, I feel afraid. So, usually during my coaching sessions, I say, you don't say, I am afraid. I am is an identity, because that's not who you are. You're not your emotions. You feel your emotions, and emotions change. This moment you may be feeling sad about your finances, and then you get a credit alert of 2 million US dollars and you're feeling excited. It's a moment. So feelings change. You are not your feelings. However, you should not ignore your feelings. Acknowledge that you feel sad. Acknowledge that you feel frustrated. Validate the fact that you feel afraid, or you feel anxious, you feel confused, you feel uncertain, right? Do not ignore your emotions. When you ignore your emotions, what happens is that it leads to resistance to change. It could lead to resistance to change. It could lead to disengagement and burnout. Okay? It's very important that you validate your emotions. All right. So it's understandable to feel anxious right now. given the circumstances. And if you are a leader, you're leading a team, you should be able to identify with the emotional challenges of your team, of your team members, to say, okay, you listen actively, and maybe they're going through an emotional crisis, or there's a difficult situation they're trying to navigate, and it's affecting them, and you can see that they are unstable, they are perplexed, or it could even be that they feel depressed. You can tell them that it's okay, it's understandable to feel the way you feel right now, given the circumstance. All right? Acknowledging and validating your emotion fosters trust and psychological safety. Right? That's important. Also to note is the need for emotional intelligence. All right? It's crisis-driven leadership. So I believe I'm speaking to leaders. We are all leaders. We're all influencers, right? In your sphere of influence, you are a leader, right? And this is crisis-driven leadership, how to turn emotional challenges into growth opportunities, opportunities for innovation. Now, you cannot adequately maximize pain or trauma or emotional crisis without being equipped with emotional intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence entails self-awareness, right? So we're talking about understanding your emotions. So you need to be able to you need to be aware of your emotional triggers. You should be aware of your emotional triggers. And what would help you to do that is self-reflection. Okay, so usually I explain self-reflection to mean having a meeting with yourself, but then you're actually having a picture, a mental picture of yourself, and you're trying to call up past events to identify patterns, to find out when certain things happen, how do I react to this situation? Okay, for example, if you discover that every time you are being corrected, you feel defensive to the point that you begin to gaslight, for example, right? You begin to gaslight whoever is trying to correct you or whoever is trying to hold a conversation with you. Self-reflection will help you to identify that every time I find myself in this situation, this is what happens. Every time I meet my boss, or every time my boss calls me to his office, every time my phone rings and it's my supervisor's call, I feel anxious. Oh, deadline. Oh, I'm afraid. What's that mistake I've made again? Oh, what did I do it perfectly? Did I? It's an emotional response and it's a pattern. So for you to turn emotional challenges into growth opportunities, you need to be self-aware. All right. So understand your emotional triggers and your responses under pressure. Okay. What is your go-to reactions in crisis? What is your first reaction in crisis? And take note of that. Okay. All right. The next thing is self-regulation. Under emotional intelligence is self-regulation. Now that you are self-aware, now that you understand your triggers, now that you understand your reaction to emotional crisis, your emotional reactions, your response to situations, the next thing is managing your own emotions. You need to be able to manage your emotions as a leader. You need to be able to regulate your emotions and not act impulsively. You need to be able to manage, regulate how you, before you respond, before you react, take a pause, take deep breaths, process how you feel. Remember, I said you are not your feelings. Feelings change. And sometimes your feelings are not they're not really telling you the absolute truth about that situation. It could be a trigger of a childhood trauma, a past hurt that has an unresolved trauma. A situation, a present situation can trigger past events, and you may be responding to a past situation, not even the present situation. So you really want to process how you feel before you respond. So emotional regulation is important. Self-regulation is important. You want to be able to master your emotions. Okay? And how you can do that, I've mentioned deep breaths. You can breathe in and out 4 times. You can also engage in other mindfulness activities, just like taking a pause to process your feelings, put your feelings under control. For example, you could look around and try to identify similar objects in the room. That little distraction will help you to balance your emotions, and then it will help you to think clearly, and then to respond adequately or responsibly. Okay? Another emotional intelligence skill you need to acquire is empathy. As a leader, the need for empathy cannot be overemphasized, especially in this day and time. If you must be an effective leader, if you must be able to lead yourself and lead people effectively, you need to equip yourself with empathy. All right, the ability to understand the feelings of others, the ability to understand the feelings of others, to share in other people's feelings. All right, empathy is simply putting yourself in the shoes of other people. And like my coach will say, put yourself in the shoes of other people, walking the journey with them. It's important. All right, empathy is important. All right, another skill you need is social skills. Learn people management. Be a people person. An effective leader is people-centric, not self-centered. Right? You care about your people, genuinely care. Yes, you want them to meet targets. Yes, you want them to achieve their goals, even to yourself. You want to achieve your goals, you want to meet deadlines, you want to meet targets and all of that, but understand that you're dealing with people. Your ability to navigate interpersonal important, to be present during a difficult moment. Okay? All right. Now let's look at some emotional data as insights. All right. We're talking about emotions. So I'm trying to build on it, and then we get to how to turn emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation. All right. Number one, negative emotions often signal unmet needs or areas of vulnerability. Okay? Validate your emotions. Acknowledge your emotions. However, be aware that your emotions are messengers. The emotion you feel is trying to say something to you. An example is if you feel frustrated about your finances, it might mean that you need to empower yourself with financial intelligence, or you need extra sources of income. So there's a message. All right. So it could just be telling you that there are areas in your life that need development. There are areas in your life that needs growth. There are areas in your life you need to pay attention to. It could be your physical health. If you feel insecure about your shape, about your size, it could mean that you need to deploy self-care. Your diet, exercising, taking care of yourself. You don't like your appearance. What can you do about your appearance? Your wardrobe within your means. There's a message. It's not about your identity first. It's your feeling and areas that needs to grow, you need to develop it. All right. So negative emotions often signal unmet needs or areas of vulnerability. Paying attention to these emotions can provide valuable insights. So it's What do you pay attention to when you are faced with an emotional crisis? When you are in a stressful situation, what are you feeling, and what is that feeling trying to tell you? If you're feeling stressed, what is it trying to tell you? Is it trying to say that you're not having adequate sleep? Is it trying to say that you're not prioritizing very well? Is it trying to say that you're not deploying healthy boundaries? There is a message. You need to pay attention to what your emotion is saying. Then you can deduce the message, gather the insights, and then it can now foster change. All right? Okay. Another emotional data is the need for psychological safety. Emotional crisis may actually be telling you that you need a safe environment, or you need a support group, a healthy support group, where you can feel free, feel safe to share your concerns, your fears, your worries, where you can take risks without being judged, without feeling judged or criticized or condemned, where you can be your authentic self. All right? So you need to build psychological safety. You need to find a healthy support group. And if you're a leader leading a team or an organization, you want to be able to create a safe environment in that workspace where team members can be vulnerable, can have honest conversations about their fears, about their concerns, about their emotional challenges without feeling judged or condemned. Okay? And also you need to foster open communication. We'll see all of that, how that can encourage innovative problem solving. So let's take one actionable tip from what I've said so far. Okay? You can call maybe 2 or 3 of your friends, your very close friends, and just solicit feedback. Constructive feedback. Constructive criticism does not harm. It will help you to grow. It will help you to become a better version of yourself. Just ask questions like, how do you think I respond to XYZ situation? And get the feedback. And that will help you on the journey to becoming a better version of yourself. You have to learn to cultivate resilience. All right, we'll talk about resilience building along the way. Okay. All right. I talked about common emotional responses. I've shared some emotional data insights. And right now, I'm also going to be sharing how that emotional crisis can be catalyst for innovation. I'll share a few tips, okay, about developing resilience. Now, what is resilience? I talked about the need for empathy. I've talked about the need for self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy. Let's talk about resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from crisis. And in this day and time, it's a skill you want to equip yourself with. Because we live in a fast-paced world. And things change really quickly. Things are changing really fast. A skill that is relevant today may not be relevant in the next few months. And such kinds of change may expose you to certain emotional difficulties, emotional challenges. And even in the face of an emotional crisis, there is still hope. You can still bounce back. Okay. So You want to help individuals or your team to develop capacity to bounce back from adversity. All right. This involves fostering a sense of hope. Please, as a leader, don't be don't be amongst the people, or don't be the one who champions hopelessness. No, you should be able to model resilience, the ability to navigate difficult seasons, the ability to handle or manage adversities as a leader. I'm not saying you should go and begin to pose as a savior, or like you're not touched by the feelings of our infirmities, like you're perfect. No, vulnerability is authenticity. However, you should be able to model resilience as a leader. That failure is normal. Setbacks are part of natural experiences, human experiences, it's part of change. And that yes, we may fail, but it doesn't mean that we are hopeless. There's hope. Even the Bible says that there's hope for a tree. If it's cut down at the scent of water. So if you're going to be able to turn emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation, then you must realize that there is hope. Okay? And then you have to be an adaptive leader. Recognize that crises often require new approaches and solutions rather than relying on past practices. I mean, this is not even the time where you want to say that, hey, this is the way we've been doing it. This is who I am. This is the way my life is. You have to be adaptive. You have to be flexible. You have to be open to change. It's very important. It's a key to leveraging challenges, difficulties. Be open-minded. Be willing to learn new skills. Be willing to apply for new jobs. Be willing to volunteer. Be willing to try again. Be willing to trust again after a betrayal. Be open-minded. I'm not saying ignore your feelings. I'm not saying just move on and act like nothing happened. Acknowledge your feelings, validate your emotions, process your emotions. However, be open-minded, be willing to learn, be adaptive as a leader. Okay? Encourage experimentation. Experiment. Most of the in life were people who experimented. They did not give up. Experiment, try again. You failed, go again. You failed, go again. It did not work, go again. Failure is learning how not to do it. Failure is learning how to do it differently. Failure is a school. So you feel disappointed, you feel discouraged, it's okay. However, what is the lesson? You need to ask yourself, what am I going to learn from this situation? If that relationship failed, it's okay that you feel betrayed, you feel misused, you feel misunderstood, you feel abused, you feel confused. But then you need to now come to a posture where you're asking yourself, what is the lesson in this crisis? What is the lesson in this situation? And I'll use this to adapt to my next level. How can I adapt? Okay. Maybe you were assigned a task you've never done before, and you're given a deadline, a very short time frame to accomplish that task. Now imagine that you were also given a limited budget to plan a birthday party, and professionals are going to come for that birthday party. Or let's say you're even planning an event and you're excellence driven, you have limited time to put things together, you have limited resources available to you, but then you need to give your best. That difficult situation will compel you to think outside of the box, and that's called creativity. It's called innovation. Your ability to create a novel solution from an almost impossible situation. And interestingly, emotional crisis reveals your potential. There's certain potential you have that you don't even know you have until you find yourself in a difficult situation. And you begin to think, how can I handle this? What can I do about this situation? With your pen and your paper, you're researching. You can go online, go to ChatGPT, do your research, use Gemini, do your research. Give me, I have only $10,000 to put this event together. It's a 5 days conference. We're bringing XYZ speakers, and then you're thinking creatively. Okay, so be an adaptive leader. All right. And I've said that necessity is the mother of invention. Urgency can break down bureaucratic inertia and accelerate the adoption of new ideas. When you're in a difficult situation, and have you ever been in a situation where you feel like enough is enough? Things must change. It could be your finances. It could be your career. Maybe you just suddenly started feeling like you're outdated. Nobody said anything, but you're just suddenly feeling like you're no longer relevant. It's a need for growth. When you pay attention to that emotion, what that emotion is telling you is it's time to evolve. It's time to advance. It's time to grow. So when you pay attention to that emotion, what you will now do is to go and apply for a new course, buy a new course, get a coach, get a mentor, go for training, acquire a new skill. Maybe you're in a relationship with someone and you find out that things that your relationship is not, you're not able to communicate. Just let me know if I'm back. Okay. So be an adaptive leader. Adopt a growth mindset. To be able to turn your emotional crisis into opportunities, you need to adopt a growth mindset. Don't have a fixed mindset. Don't say that's the way you did it yesterday. Don't say that's the way your mother used to do it. Don't say that's the way your father used to do it. Don't say that's the way you were brought up. Don't say that's the way it's done in your culture. Don't say that's the way it's done. No, don't. Adopt a growth mindset. If something is not working, then you need to change. You need to adopt a new way of doing that same thing. And if it requires you to learn, and that's where even constructive feedback comes in. What we call negative criticism comes into play. You may be feeling low about yourself, battling with lack of self-confidence, for example, and you constantly find out that you are avoiding certain responsibilities because you feel like you're not good enough, you feel like you can't do it. Address that emotion. Why do I often feel like I'm not good enough whenever this particular topic or whenever this particular responsibility is assigned to me? Then ask yourself, what can I do? Because I need to confront it. If you're going to evolve as a leader, if you're going to be a better leader, if you're going to become a better version of yourself, if you're going to be successful and live a fulfilling life, then you need to confront it. Why do I battle with lack of confidence? Why do I battle with low self-esteem? Now, what can I do about it? And there are three W's. I call it, it's not just a W, I call it the why, the what, the who, and the how. Why do I feel the way I feel? What can I do about the way I feel? Who do I know can help me with the way I feel? How can I apply what I learn to change the way I feel so that I can feel differently? I can become better. It's not denying who you are, it's becoming a better version of who you are. Okay? So adopt growth mindset. View challenges as opportunities for learning, for growth, rather than limitations. Oh, I feel fear. I feel fear of the unknown, so you're not going. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is doing it despite fear. Going ahead with the feeling of fear. Courage is confronting your fears. So let the emotional challenges, let the feelings of fear, of anxiety, of shame, of guilt, of depression, of frustration, of confusion, let it be a catalyst for growth, not a fixed limitation. Okay, adopt collaborative problem solving. When I was giving the framework, why, where, what, and how, I mentioned who. Relationship is important. Please don't try to do life alone. Interestingly, you're not alone. There's someone else somewhere who's been through what you are going through right now and overcame that situation. And that person has written a book, has a course, is a coach, has a podcast, is an influencer, or a thought leader, maybe in your family, maybe in your workplace, that you have access to or you need to have access to. For team leadership, adopt collaborative problem solving. When there's crisis, when there's organizational crisis, and there's stress, fatigue, fear, anxiety amongst your team, bring your team together. Have a honest conversation. Keep an open line for communication. Get feedback. Then brainstorm together. For self-leadership, you may just need to engage your friends, trusted friends and family members to brainstorm, ask questions, engage in what I call creative thinking. The kind of thinking that focuses on solution, not the problem. So yes, this is a problem. And you sit down with the problem, say, okay, problems attract solution. Just the way solutions attract problems. So now that there is this problem, I need to think creatively. I need to think of a way out because there is a way out. And yeah, pardon me, because I will use biblical principles all the time, almost all of the times. That even the Bible says for every temptation, there is a way of escape. There is a way of escape. And I hold on to biblical principles because they are true. For every difficulty, there is a way. Your thoughts should not be why me. Usually I ask my clients, if not you, who will go? We celebrate pace setters. We celebrate pathfinders. We celebrate trailblazers. You too can be a trailblazer. You too can be a pathfinder because there are thousands of people who are connected to you, who are waiting for you to overcome that situation so that they can come to glean from your wisdom and then they can pay you for your wisdom. You will make their lives better and make your life better in return. That's purposeful living. Because one of the things that emotional crisis does is that it propels you to unleash your potential and it helps you to fulfill your purpose. If you look critically into the why of that challenge, into the why of that emotion, you will find a connection to your purpose. You will find a connection to finding fulfillment. You will find a connection to meeting the need of other people. You will find the connection to contributing to the greater good of society because you are not the only one experiencing what you're experiencing. I call pain a birth pang, more like contraction during pregnancy, before delivery. That's how I describe pain. When you look at it positively, you will be able to find the babies from that pain. It could be a book. It could be a gadget. It could be a platform just like Zoom. Leverage the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Imagine how much Zoom was able to make. And I remember that I said I was going to share a personal story still in 2020. So that you understand emotional challenges and how they can be opportunities for growth and innovation. My family had just moved from Abeokuta, Ogun State in Nigeria, to Ibadan, Oyo State in Nigeria. In the year 2020, we moved in January, and then there was lockdown from the month of March. It was a new environment, a new location for me. I had my baby and a toddler, and it was a new season for me. I was anxious, I was afraid, I was uncertain, I was confused. And I remember very well that my mother-in-law was even feeling for me. She was empathizing with me and she'd be like, please, because I was always with my book and pen. I was brainstorming. I'll be in the sitting room. I was always walking up and down. I'll be in the kitchen. Maybe I'm doing the chores and then an idea pops into my mind. I'm running into the room to pen it down. And you will just know that I was just unstable. I needed a solution. And that was where my business went into branding and packaging of gift items, souvenirs and all of that. Because the ideas were coming. I went to speak at an event, a women's conference before then, and then I shared some of those ideas. I saw people were interested. I started giving personalized gifts, and then I had to begin to find out people who could do it for me. And then I stumbled on someone who was planning an event. And I just felt in my heart, I felt that the Holy Spirit was prompting me to speak to her. I spoke to this person, and then we collaborated. I made souvenirs for the event, and that was how I started buying my machines. And then my company made millions in COVID-19 during the lockdown. So you can leverage emotional challenges. You can leverage crisis for growth. And the growth for me was that my company, Fabric Craft, we had to adopt a new business idea and a new strategy to keep the business afloat. You can also do that in your relationship. What are the things you can do to make your marriage better, to make your relationship better? You don't like the feeling, you don't like you feel unloved, you feel like you're not communicating, you feel like you don't feel affectionate anymore. Pay attention to that emotion and find out innovative ways. Do you need to go on low budget dates? Do you need to embark on vacations or staycations? It's self-leadership. All right, so I'm going to wrap up now. Practical strategies and actionable steps to turn emotional challenges into growth opportunities. Number one, practice self-awareness. I've said that already, so I'm wrapping up. Practice self-awareness. Regularly check in with your own emotional state. How do you feel about the situation? Pen it down. Please write it down. How do you feel about the situation? I feel depressed. I feel anxious. I feel confused. Write it down. Prioritize self-care. Please, you are important. You are important. If you are working a job that constantly makes you feel distressed to the point of depression, pay attention, prioritize self-care. In your daily habits, prioritize self-care. Sometimes the mood swing you're feeling, the stress you're feeling is as a result of neglect. You're neglecting yourself. Eat healthy diets, exercise, take yourself out, give yourself nice treats, prioritize self-care. Have adequate rest, nutrition. It's very important. Number three, seek support. If you're going to be able to turn emotional challenges into growth opportunities for innovation, you need help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, dear leader. It's a sign of self-awareness. Self-awareness is knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, accepting your strengths and your weaknesses, and then collaborating with someone else who can complement you in your areas of weakness. Ask for help. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it is authenticity. We need you to be you. Be yourself. It's okay to not feel okay sometimes. Ask for help. Ask for support. If you are given a task to do and you don't know how to do it, ask for help. Ask someone who knows how to do it. Effective leadership does not mean that you must have all the answers. I mean, effective leaders employ people, team members that are better than them. Highly effective leaders will deploy skills and ideas from people who are better than them, and they are comfortable with leading people who have better skills than them. That's what even makes you an effective leader. To be a successful person, you need to be comfortable with having people, high achievers around you, people who are better than you in different areas. That's how they pull you up. It's okay to seek support. Number four, focus on what you can control. It's important. In life, there are certain things that are beyond your influence. They are beyond your control. An example is the loss of a loved one. Certain things are beyond your control. The economic downturn of a nation is beyond your control. Some organizational financial crises are beyond your control. Focus on what is beyond your control. How can I upskill, for example? How can I discover, seek other opportunities? How can I even contribute to this organization to make it better? What can I do? Social connections. How can I put myself out there to connect with people, to develop healthy relationships so that I can develop, boost my confidence, become a better person? What do I need to learn to become a better speaker, to present, to give a better presentation? Learn, relearn, unlearn the past. Learn new skills and keep learning. That's what growth is about. Your weaknesses are actually growth opportunities. They do not define who you are. They actually define how far you can go. They unveil your potential, your capacity. So focus on what you can control instead of getting overwhelmed by things that are outside your influence. If you are a team leader, maybe you're leading other people, to be able to turn challenges, especially organizational challenges, that is stressing your team members and affecting your results, learn to communicate clearly and transparently with your team members. Communication is important. And I've mentioned before, empathize. Practice empathy. Acknowledge the emotional impact of the crisis, of the situation. Acknowledge it. Empower other people. Delegate. It will help you to, like I learned this from Richard Branson many years ago. He said it's not about who gets the job done. It's about getting the job done. So sometimes it's okay to get out of the way and let someone else do it. If you need to rest, deploy someone else. Get someone else's services. If you need to get the help and you have the capacity, do that. Sometimes if you need to rest and you need to outsource. There's always a way. I talked about fostering psychological safety. Create a safe space. Define a healthy support group. Now, finally, celebrate your small wins. Celebrate your small wins. It's important. Pay attention to the things you're good at. Don't just be carried away. Just don't be overwhelmed by the things you're not good at. Don't be overwhelmed by the negative emotions. Pay attention to the positive emotions as well. Practice gratitude. Be thankful for everything. Be thankful for the fact that you even have an opportunity to grow. Be thankful. Gratitude unlocks opportunities. Gratitude actually gives you clarity. And when you have clarity, you can have new ideas, fresh ideas, solutions to that problem. So practice gratitude. Journal. Journal your feelings. Journal your experiences. Take it away from your mind. Put it on paper. Put it in your journal. Practice journaling. Write it down. And then plan. Plan. Have a plan. Have a plan to navigate that circumstance. Have a plan to navigate that situation. Break it into small goals. Be agile. Be flexible. Just have small achievable milestones. You want to learn to be in healthy relationships again, despite past betrayals, and you want to overcome social withdrawal. Have a plan. Okay, I will start by attending birthdays. And when I go to a birthday party or I go to a conference, I will speak to at least one person I don't know. That's confronting the fear of rejection. I will speak to one person. I'll put myself out there. That's a goal. Okay? So have a plan and set small goals, achievable goals. Now, finally, when you have discovered why you feel the way you feel, and you've discovered what you have and what you can do about that situation, and you've connected with who, a mentor, a coach, a friend, a support group, an expert that can help you, a therapist, a counselor, a professional that can help you in that situation. And through that help, you've been able to write down your goals and your strategies on how to navigate the situation. Do it. Do it. Apply it. Do it afraid. Growth comes with application. Clarity comes on the journey. Do it. Take the risk. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try it again and again. Try it differently. Stay accountable, but do it. And remember, as you're doing it, acknowledge your small wins. Celebrate your progress and be innovative. Be flexible along the way and enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Thank you very much. I hope you've been able to learn something, a thing or two. I hope it's been worth your while. Thank you once again, Esther, for having me.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. You've spoken elaboratively on how we can maximize our pain to profit, turn our pain to profit, maximize our emotions into opportunities for growth and innovations. I would say this teaching is something that would take you time, but I love the fact that you compiled everything and you were able to give so much value short time. And I would say myself, I am imparted. You spoke about journaling, you spoke about focusing on what we can control as individuals, even as people living in third world countries, we have to focus on what we can control, not the problem outside there that we don't have control over, because those things are actually going to overwhelm us, make us depressed, and keep us on the low side. And when we are on the low, there is no place for creativity, there is no place for innovation. So if we want to be innovative, if we want to be creative, if we want to do new things, we have to focus on what we can control and maximize it for growth. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for being
Thank
here. Thank you for
you.
giving so much value. All right, I have just one question. I don't know if we have a question from the audience. I have just one question. You know, we are in an environment that people judge you for having a particular past. People judge you for feeling a particular way. In fact, in this environment, we don't validate negative emotion. We see it as bad, and we tag the people that have negative emotion as bad people. So, how do we encourage a culture of vulnerability in our organizations? Because you see so many people working as bankers, and at the end of the day, they feel, oh, they are not enough. And they go commit suicide and do a whole lot of things, despite the fact that they are working and they are busy. So how do we create an environment that encourage vulnerability in our organizations, in corporate world? How do we create that without people without people having the fear of, oh, I'm going to be judged if I confide in the people I'm working with, if I let them know how I feel about a particular project. How do we foster environment of vulnerability in corporate organizations?
Okay, thank you so much for the question, Esther. I think I lost you at some point, but if I get the question, you're asking how we can encourage the culture of vulnerability in our organizations without the fear of stigmatization and
Yes.
yeah, got that. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. All right. So corporate well-being is something I am really, really big on. I'm very passionate about it. And it's very important because the well-being of an organization
Mm.
depends on the well-being of its human resources. That's the people.
Yeah.
And we're not in a time where we want to say that this is not an emotional space. This is be professional, be official. We're dealing with
Yeah.
people. And over and over again, over time now, even now, there are organizations who are beginning to embrace mental health, mental care, mental wellness, mental health campaigns, and all of that, right? But then to answer your question, how do we encourage a culture of vulnerability in organizations? I would say from it will begin from the values of the organization,
Mm.
from
Yes.
the value, right, of the organization. Okay. Now, if the organization is a kind of system that places value on people, on the well-being of the team, then the organization can create a structure
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that allows for mental health, self-care, and all of that. I mean, it could be as simple as having questionnaires or tests. I work with an organization where we have an app. We have this app where we go for our own personal mental well-being. It's called the Quenza app.
Okay.
Our boss takes us to the app, leads us to the app. It gives us tasks, sometimes 21 days, right? There you go, there you list very short clips, motivational clips, you some mindfulness exercises, some questionnaires, you reflect, you answer those questions and all of that. That's a structure that ensures the mental well-being, the emotional well-being of the team. Now that's when
Mm.
it's coming from the organization, when it's being implemented by the organization. Do you understand? Because we're
Yeah.
dealing with people, and the well-being of your team will impact either positively or negatively on the deliverables, on the well-being of the organization. And you cannot say, oh, because you're emotionally unwell, for lack of better expression, leave.
Mm.
If
That's
we do that all the time, we're also impacting society negatively.
mm.
So one of the ways we can encourage vulnerability or emotional well-being in the organization is to put structures in place. You could also have things like team building hangouts.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
You can have team building hangouts. We go out, maybe everybody wears branded t-shirts. We're just going out to connect. We go to a safe place. It could be in the company if there's a place like that, or we go to a neutral place altogether. It could be a camp. We go there to recharge, to refresh. We have
Mm.
fun, and then we still brainstorm there. And then we come back, we're better.
Mm-hmm.
Another way to foster well-being in an organization is by encouraging trainings. Train your people. We can encourage trainings on emotional intelligence. The more people are aware of their emotions and their triggers, the more people are equipped on how to regulate their emotions, the better they will be able to handle their responsibilities at the workplace.
Yes.
So I've talked about team building hangouts. I've talked about putting structures in place, like maybe an app or a website that allows for emotional well-being, that fosters emotional well-being, and then trainings, programs, conferences. I know that there are organizations that do this. Now that's on a corporate level. If you as a person who is working in an organization want to encourage the culture of vulnerability in that organization, then my encouragement to you is to be a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Be a safe. Let it start with you. Let it start with one person.
Yes.
Be that safe place, that leader who is open to people's emotional vulnerabilities without stigmatizing them. The ability to distinguish a person from an event.
Yeah.
So the fact that a person messed up a job, I'm not in any way encouraging irresponsibility. But I mean life happens. The fact that a person messed up a project does not make that person a mess. So we should be able to identify issues, deal with issues without defining the person by the issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an employee or a colleague who is going through challenges, personal, you could say it's personal. But if it's impacting on the job, instead of
Yeah.
firing the person, find out how you can help the person. Be a safe place. Can the person talk to you? Can the person trust you? So be a person that can be trusted. And the way you can do that is that you yourself will have to model vulnerability. You should be able to tell your team that, oh, do you know I'm struggling with this right now and I need help? Does anybody have an answer? Do you have a solution to this? Without feeling afraid of being judged. The more you can be vulnerable with your team, you're modeling it, they too can be vulnerable with you in return. And so you can just encourage that and encourage team spirit in the
Yeah.
organization. But one of the rules in that organization as a core value, for me personally, let me say for me personally, is don't talk about your colleague behind their back.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So there are a lot of other ways, but these are ways that we can help people, right, to become more vulnerable and just be there. Sometimes it's just active listening. Just be there to listen to them. You may not have a solution, but you just
Yeah.
listen and just empathize. you know I
All
hope I
right.
was
Thank
able
you.
to answer that
Yeah,
question.
you did a whole lot to hit, and I believe some executive directors of SME would be listening to this, and we will treat our business. We will treat our business as though we are working
Please
with
permit me
women.
to add something, please.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, please, I'm just going to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that organizations can also um, deploy the services of professionals.
Yes.
If your employee or your team member needs a therapist,
You can
you can
sponsor.
actually help them get a therapist.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's
Sponsor.
true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I believe some founders would be listening to this, especially executive directors of SMEs in Nigeria would listen to this and take practical steps to set this structure up in the organization, because when working in corporate organizations, we are not just working as professionals, we are working as humans, executing professional job and getting professional results. And to get professional results, to get optimum results, we ourselves have to be mentally okay, like you said. Thank you so much, Ma, for giving out so much value in today's teaching. It means so
Thank
much
you.
to us at T Prime, and we've seen a whole lot of what you're doing. We've seen your contributions to the mental health space and all. We're looking
Yeah.
forward to collaborating, maybe having a physical conference, inviting you down for our International Leadership Conference and Award coming up in October in Abuja this year. So,
Gladly.
yes, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you so much. And thanks for the amazing work you do too. Thank you.
Thank, yeah. If you have a final word for the audience, like a resource you would like them to get, a material or a course you would like them to have access to, please do let them know. Also, how they can contact you for a one-on-one session.
Thank you once again, Esther. I had an amazing time, really. I did have an amazing time. And I believe our participants had an amazing time too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, so like I said earlier, and like Esther introduced, my name is Nimi Adetiran. I am fondly called the Pain Doctor. Okay, so
Mhm.
that's a brand name, that's my brand, Pain Doctor, because I help individuals and corporate organizations to leverage pain, crisis, emotional crisis for advancement in your life, in your career, in your relationships, in your business, right? And yes, I'm an author of books, several books. Who's Damn Seller You, a book on relationship, identity, and purpose. I've also authored a book, Stars Without Scars. It's actually Stars with Scars, right? How you
Yeah.
can leverage your scars, as blueprints, for living a fulfilling life. I have journals. I have the Good News Journal. It's a gratitude journal that helps you to just express gratitude every day. It's very valuable, very, very powerful because it also guides you on physical exercises, water intake, and all of that. We have confessions, that is affirmations in the journal. I also have my healing journey. It's also a journal to help you bounce back from emotional crisis. Okay,
Yeah.
I have free books, well feels, well peace affirmations for women to help women just enjoy your emotional well-being. And I have courses. I have one called Estimator, helping you to develop a healthy esteem. Three factors: know you, be you, and love you. Okay, so I have Estimator course, and then I have one that I'm about to launch, Pain to Profit, from your pain,
Congratulations
and it'll be
again,
out
Ma.
shortly. I'm also I'm a family therapist, so I speak together with my husband, the Purposeful Grow brand. We talk about
Yeah.
relationships, purposeful relationships, love relationships, marital relationships, and we have resources on that as well. You can follow me on Facebook at Nimi Adetiran, on Instagram at Nimi Adetiran, on LinkedIn. That's a very long name. Tamulo Nimite Adetiro. Okay, so yeah, on LinkedIn as well. And you can also send me a DM. I'll
Yeah.
be really, really available and I'll to respond to your questions and attend to your needs as well.
All right. Thank you
Yeah, I'm also
so
a
much.
consultant.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Coach Nimi
You're
Adetiro. You are all
welcome.
encompassing. I love the words of your knowledge and how you put it out with so much simplicity to understand. Like Coach Nimi said, she's launching a new book very soon, and the book will be unveiled. I'm going to share it on my page so that the people there will also see it. Congratulations, Coach Nimi. Thank you so much once again for honoring our invitation. I do not take it for granted, and we believe the people that will be watching the replay of this session will reach out to you. Like even when I was sharing the flyer, people said they want to contact you and all. Thank you so much for living a life of value generally. Thank you. All right, we've come to the end of
Thank
today's
you.
session. We're going to be having our next session next month. Do well to reach out to us if you have questions, if you have anything you would want to share with us. You're going through a particular issue and you need somebody to talk to reach out to. Do well to reach out to us. We are available for you, and Coach Nimi is available for everything that concerns mental health, trauma, and recovery from your pain. Thank you, Coach Nimi, once again. So we'll be going out of the session. Thank you.
for having